Wrestling is trash. Wrestling is trash.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 140 of Wrestling is Trash. I, of course, am one of the hosts of this podcast, Lou from the BX. Directly to my, right is the other co-host of this podcast, who will introduce himself shortly. But for right now, we are here and we are joining you on another Trash Tuesday for the wrestles.
What's up, everyone? Nick Ganicelli, joined by a special guest, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, today.
Yeah,
I
pal.
didn't know we'd be honored, but I hope everyone's doing good. A little lighter show today, which is nice. As you guys know, the past couple weeks we've been diving into everything, but we got a full show ahead and some really cool things to talk about and stuff we'd love your opinion about. But how you doing, Lou?
Absolutely. I am doing fantastic. I managed to grow this full dark mustache in 2 days, if you can believe it. For all of you watching, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. If you're listening and you fucking up, you should really be checking us out on YouTube. But I am doing well. Everything is good with me. I kind of wanted to talk about the fact that I went to a local wrestling show. I'm not sure if I brought it up on the last episode, but we have a local promotion. We actually have a couple local promotions here, but probably the biggest one is called CCW, which is Coastal Championship Wrestling, and they have shows everywhere. Like, I'm just finding all this out. They have shows in Homestead, they have shows in Miami, they have shows in freaking Kissimmee, Florida. They just travel all over, and there's a lot of familiar faces who show up there. Kylan King was just there. Gangrel is one of the founders of the place, so he's like always showing up there. I got to meet the owner when I went to the show, and I didn't even know he was the owner until I walked in, and he noticed me with my fucking tiger mask on and my feather boas that I was wearing. So yeah, it was cool. It was the experience itself was good for the most part. I ended up leaving early, if I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Because I was so it took a lot for me to get my ass up out the house and go participate in an outdoor activity. I've become like something of a hermit lately, and trying to get myself out of this funk that I'm in. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to this show and I'm going to go whatever by myself. I'm going to have fun. It probably would have been better to go with people, or at least another person, instead of me going by myself, wearing a fucking costume and then sitting there not knowing anybody. So, so I had a little bit of anxiety with that because people didn't know really what to make of me. They were like, what the fuck? Who is this guy? Is he going to like jump over the railing? Is he part of the show? Like, what the fuck?
You're the main event.
Like, you know what I mean? So I got to meet some cool people there and shit. Some people were asking me about the mask and stuff like that. And when the wrestlers were coming out for their entrances, I was sitting front row. So all of them stopped and were like, oh shit, fucking love that mask. Which was cool. I did enjoy that. But one dude insulted me and I took it personally. Like I really did. This one dude came out and he was a heel. And he was coming out and everybody was booing him because I guess, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know who's a heel, who's a face. I'm new. So, I'm following the crowd. If the crowd's booing, then I'm like, okay, this guy's a heel, I'm booing. So this one dude came out who, again, I don't have anybody's names because I was just wanted to go there fresh and experience it. And then I'll do research and all that. As I was telling Nick off air, I'm going back on this Saturday for another show. But this one dude came out and he kind of like looked like Goldberg, bald headed dude, kind of that same build. He kind of like Ryback Goldberg build. And he came out, everybody was booing him and he's telling everybody, get up, stand up, stand up. And he's just walking around and he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, you stand up. You know you need it." And I was like, "Man, fuck you."
God damn, it came right
And
at
I
you.
was just kind of like, that shit actually fucking hurt my feelings a little bit. I was like, oh my God, wow. This guy actually, he got me with that one. I don't know what it was about it, but he just got me with that shit. So yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, I got to interact with some of these people. The one real important thing that I noticed about this, and I've been finding this a lot about wrestling, like independent wrestling shows, bro, there was no outside padding. It was just concrete on the outside of the ring. So I
Oh
was like,
damn.
are they gonna put padding before this shit starts? Because it took a while to start because everybody in Miami shows up late to everything. So they were waiting for the crowd to build up a little bit more before they started the show. And I was sitting there in the front row and I'm looking at the floor and I'm like, yo, that's straight up concrete on the floor. Like, because it's inside of a, so this event took place inside of a brewery, and it was in the back of the brewery, like where they make the beer. That's where this shit was. So it's like a lot of
Yeah.
steel and pipes, and it looked dope. Like it looked like some type of underground shit.
Cool setting.
Yeah, it looked cool. Unfortunately, number one, there was no AC, so it was hot as balls. But they had big fans or whatever. And I'm waiting for them to put like padding on the ground, and it never happened. Then they started the show. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this just means that we're not going to be seeing any crazy dives or any shit. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever. The first match, there was a dive. In the first fucking match, there was a dive, dude. This dude jumped over the fucking top rope onto another guy, and they both hit the floor. And I was like, yo, you motherfuckers are nuts, dude. Concrete.
Yeah, like that. There's no give there.
And there's another dude, the one name that I did remember, this really cool dude who I actually got to interact with him on Instagram the other day. Hopefully, future guest on this show. His name is Ozzy Killmeister. And he's kind of like a obviously with that name, he's like a heavy metal type of head banging character. And he did a fucking what do you call that shit? It's not the moonsault, because he just like basically did like a front moonsault to the outside, and he's not the tallest dude, but he's a wide dude, and he fucking did a dive outside. I was just like, no way, bro. There's no fucking way. You're not gonna catch me diving onto concrete. So overall, it was really fun.
Good.
I'm looking forward to go back, and I kind of want to like get to go to more of these shows. It's just it gets expensive to keep paying for these tickets, but because they have a lot of shows. So but I enjoyed it. I really thought it was really fun, and the crowd was into everything, and there was chants and all these things. So I'm like, as a rookie, I'm like, okay, cool, I gotta come, because there's people who have their own chants there and shit. Like there's this one Haitian dude, and his thing is time to eat. So they chant time to eat, time to eat. And there's another guy who he comes out to the heavy metal version of The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round, and his tights are like a school bus colors, like yellow school bus colors with the windows on, painted on a thing. And he's like a big giant older guy, and he was over as fuck. Like when he came out, everybody lost their fucking minds. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. It was really fun.
That's awesome, because I haven't been to like any small ones in a long time, but sometimes they can be like a dud though, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that like this one wasn't, you know. It seemed like everything just fit perfectly.
Oh yeah, I would have been tight if it would have sucked. But like I said, I ended up leaving early just because anxiety got the better of me. And I was very
Happens
that chair that I
know.
was sitting in was like a wooden chair, and it was like not comfortable at all. And then add the sweat and the just everything else, I was like, all right, I've seen like 6 matches. It's time for me to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
So I just bounced.
nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, man, how's everything with you? What's going on with Mr.
Yeah,
Nicholas?
Man. Got no complaints. Work is work. Play is play.
That's right.
To let everyone know, I had a catastrophe the other day. So while I'm here, I only brought like my iPad because I didn't want to carry a bunch of shit with me. So my iPad fell though, and the screen cracked pretty bad. And first thing I did, to be real, was I went to the camera and I tried seeing like what was fucked or whatever. Everything would have been fine, but like the anxiety in me is like, nah, like I just got here and all this, like I can't have a fuck screen, like you know what I mean?
Right.
Because like I was watching shows after on it, and I was like, I can get by this, like I can. Then it's like, well, let me see if they have any repair places like close by, and there's one like 10 minutes away.
Oh shit.
Very quick, fair price, blah blah blah. Then I'm telling my boy about it. He's like, yo, I can just give you a ride. They open at 9. I'll just take you at 9. I was like, all right. And then an hour later, well, went to bed, then got up. Then an hour later, I had a brand new fixed screen, and probably the best decision I made.
Nice.
because it's crazy because the way we talk, like the way I have it laid out, so your face is closer to the camera side,
Okay.
and like my face is closer to the button.
Right.
So your face would have been just all fucked up.
Oh
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, when those things break,
gotta
they
make
they
sure.
break. They always break in the worst way possible, bro. Like it's always bad.
Yeah. So happy though I got that fixed. But besides that, man, I got nothing. Playoff basketball starts this upcoming weekend for us
Ooh.
basketball fans. Saturday, Celtics play. I know the play-in, I think today actually. The Hawks and the Heat.
Playing.
The Celtics get the winner of that. Who do you guys have first? The
We're
Cavs,
playing
correct?
Cleveland, son, 6 o'clock on Saturday, which I actually fucked up because I told you I'm going to this wrestling show on Saturday,
I don't know.
and it's at 8 o'clock.
Dog, if there's one thing I love just as much as wrestling, it's basketball. Like I love football too, but that's always on Sundays. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But basketball, as we know, is every day of the week. Dog, I'd skip that show. That's just me.
That's what I'm saying. I fucked up because I already paid for the tickets. Like I bought.
What time's the show
It's
at?
at 8 o'clock though, so the game should be like at the end. I could like. I'm already thinking about it. Like I'll be able to watch 90% of the game here, and then I'll just throw my gear on or whatever and head out. Drive to this place. It's not far from here. It's like 20 minutes because it's up here. It's closer than the other show. And I just have the game on in the car while I'm GPSing, and I should be able to. But it's like it's not acceptable. I shouldn't have done that. Like I should not have.
You didn't know. To be fair, they left the playoff schedule out like 3 days.
Yeah, I was too open on this whole wrestling shit. They sent me another email. They're like, "Oh, we're having another show." I was like, "Oh, Pompano, yep, I'm going to that show," and I didn't even think about it. I just paid for the tickets. I was like, "Ooh, Saturday, perfect." And then I was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, thinking like, "Oh, Saturday night, got nothing to do."
Yeah, and then that schedule came out, and I was like, "What am I doing on the 15th? There's something I got to do on the 15th, and I don't remember." Then I was like, "Oh yeah, the playoffs start."
Yeah, and especially like you said, if they don't start at exactly 8 o'clock, you're even more in the clear.
So yeah, I'm gonna probably get there like at 8. I don't have to get there super early. I'll wait till the game's over and then I'll head over there and whatever. But if the Knicks lose, which they better not, and I'm assuming that they're gonna win this game. If they lose, I ain't going fucking nowhere. I'm gonna be miserable. So
I'm hoping the Hawks win tonight against the Heat. Reason being is because that's who the Celtics' last game of the season was against. And I doubt the Hawks had all their people going because they had a play-in spot locked regardless. But like our bench, like Peyton Pritchard put up like a triple-double against them.
Wow.
So it's like, and at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think the Heat are a little more dangerous than the Hawks.
Absolutely. I don't want to have anything to do with playing the Heat in any type of setting. If in any type of setting that counts, I do not want to play the Heat, bro. That's a dangerous team.
So we shall see what comes of that. And one gripe I do have, because it made me think of when the wrestling shows start, and I guess it could transition to our first topic, is wrestling shows, I think, let open doors late and start shows late, unless it's like a pay-per-view or live TV, like a house show and stuff. I think they start late on purpose. So everywhere I've ever gone, like if I go to say to a football game or a basketball game, like if they say doors are at 4, doors are at 4.
Yeah.
I feel every wrestling show I go to, I'm like, yeah, doors are at 4. They open at like 4:30.
Yeah.
And then like, oh yeah, it's a house show. It starts at 8 o'clock. It's like 8:15.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think wrestling does it on purpose. Like I genuinely think they do.
Yeah, it's funny because this show. So again, I don't like being late. I don't like being in a rush. So I had to drive to Hialeah, which I know for people listening to this, probably not even from Florida, you have no fucking idea what that means. Hialeah is about 48 minutes from here, maybe an hour. So I used to live in that area before. Now I don't, but I'm familiar with that area. So I was like, okay, I kind of know where that is. Traffic. The show started at supposedly it was 7 o'clock. It was supposed to start, right? So if I'm leaving, if it takes me 48 minutes in light traffic and it starts at 7, well, what time am I supposed to leave? Do I leave at 5? That's in the middle of rush hour. So I was trying to like weigh all that shit in. So I left like at 5:20 something. But it was Good Friday. So there was like no traffic for me whatsoever. Like I was,
Okay, yeah.
dude, I went straight shot. There was nobody driving. So I got lucky. But I get there, and my thing is I want to be able to park without it being a pain in the ass. And I want to get inside and do my thing because of course, there was 3 tiers for tickets. There was standard admission, which was $20, I think, or whatever. Front row was 25, and VIP front row was 40. So I was like, $40 for VIP front row. I'll take that. Like the fuck? Like what's $40?
Yeah.
And I was thinking VIP was gonna be like, I'm in my own. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. So I bought VIP tickets, and then when I looked up what VIP was, it meant that you get to go in half an hour early, and you get to meet people and take pictures and blah 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 blah. So I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll go in there and sit in my chair early and whatever. And because I wanted to actually like, I was thinking like, I'll help you set up or I'll help whatever. I was just trying to like figure out a way to get in there. And I get there, and like I told you, this guy was starting late because he was like, people haven't come yet. People are running late. So I'm like, all right, well, I paid for I paid to go in at 6:30, and it's now like 7:15, and the show's actually supposed to start at 7, and you haven't started it yet. So like, what the fuck did I pay for? You know what I mean? Like I paid for nothing. I gave you an extra $15 just like for no reason. So now I know next time, just if you want to get the front row, just pay $25 and get front row, not VIP front row. Because all in all, VIP front row, I was literally sitting in the corner in the front row. It was the same shit as if I would have paid fucking $25. So, little bit of a ripoff, but it's okay. It was my own fault. Now I know.
But to speak on that, and the reason I say that is because we had a huge announcement on the AEW side of things. The All In pay-per-view is coming back from the famous Wembley Stadium. I believe it's August 27th. I believe it's the end of August, 24th, 20, something like that. And I personally think this is huge. One, because Lou and I have talked about this before. UK has some of the best crowds.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just loud and everything like that. Everything they do, they just give so much energy, which this summer UK is getting spoiled, which I'm ant for them. There's a lot of shows going on overseas. I think this is not just huge for them. I think this is huge for the company. I do want to get the negative out right away, not on my end, but for all these wrestling fans being like, they're not going to sell this out, blah, 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 blah. Dog, stadium shows, unless it's like honestly, a WrestleMania, and the reason I say a WrestleMania is because the way they have the big stage and everything, they're not meant to be sold out. They're not to be. Because usually they have a small, like you saw Clash of the Castle, SummerSlam, they have the smaller entranceways, right? And they book off like almost half the stadium. This isn't meant, they're not meant to have an 80,000 people show.
Right.
So let's just get that over the way. This is going to be a success regardless what happens.
Yeah.
But before I answer the question that you put in the note, Lou, what do you think? What do you show overall reaction to it?
Yeah, just
a big
just
show
as
and
far as
the first AEW show coming back.
Yeah, just as far as these fucking marks who are, dude, they're not gonna sell out, they're gonna fail. Listen, so they haven't started selling tickets yet, but what they did do is, I think they opened up the site for the pre-orders for people to sign up to get notified or whatever of the pre-orders. And dude, 25,000 people signed up within the first like hour or two. 25,000 people, bro. So
Yeah.
literally with that, I mean, you want more than you, I feel like they're probably gonna do. I'm thinking they're gonna do maybe 40, 45.
That's what I
And
was
with
thinking.
that, it's gonna be pretty much a success for them. Like that's gonna be a
I think they'll
success
be
for
their
them.
biggest show ever, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they sell out whatever, because the thing is they have to build the stage. So depending on how big the stage is and what they do, there's gonna have to be seats eliminated. So you won't know the final, what capacity it is or whatever. It can hold 90,000, but that's just
Insane.
that's crazy. But yeah, these people who just immediately just the negativity of they're not gonna sell out. What is he doing? What's he thinking? It's like, bro, you know how exciting that is for those people over there to be getting that big ass wrestling show in that place. Like, it's awesome, and it's just awesome to
Yeah.
take this
This
thing
is gonna
overseas like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge success. It's because you gotta think, like WWE, who's been going to the UK forever, they go there and do house shows and they sell out.
Hmm.
Imagine all the AEW UK fans that have
Yeah,
yet to have a show.
yeah,
Like, dude, this is gonna be amazing. And I'm happy for the wrestlers because this is just another huge platform. You know what I mean? To show off on, show their product off, everything like that. For us viewers, well, I don't know about mine. I haven't done the math yet, but for people like Lou, it's not going to go on till midnight. It's going to be a Saturday, or I wonder if I
right.
think it's on a Saturday.
That'd be great.
So I think Saturday afternoon wrestling, even Sunday afternoon wrestling, whatever it is always a big W in my book.
Yeah,
So big fan of that. So I think this is going to be fucking dope, and I'm very excited for it.
yeah, hell yeah.
Very excited for it.
I'm super
It's
stoked.
another wrestling pay-per-view. How can you not get excited?
Yeah, for real. Now, Nick,
That's how I look at it.
with this pay-per-view here happening, and as we like to be fantasy bookers here on this show, what do you think should be the main event of this show? Going by everything that's going on right now, what you think is kind of leading towards that direction? Because they're kind of building some stuff now. I don't know if it's going to head all the way over there, but, basically as far as storyline goes.
So mine, so you got to think. With a show like this, though, you have to build a good card. Not just because of ticket prices, but you have to make it worth it for people to want to do this again. Now, one thing I know Tony's going to do, which I don't blame him for doing, he's definitely going to have, like, forbidden door people, I guess you would say, at this show. Like, maybe not your typical and that's
It's because it's All Out. All Out is basically, one of those shows where they get everybody from everywhere. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So that's an advantage he has, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is a good advantage to have. So I like to live in a world where the main event should always be the champion. But as we always discuss, and I think it's another topic on here, so I'm kind of entering both. I feel the obvious you have to go with is two matches, in my opinion. Either CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or the Elite versus FTR and CM Punk. Because, as we've said since fucking September of last year, you have your natural storyline right there. CM Punk, as we say, because there are probably some people who watch or listen to us that hate and don't want him to come back, and probably maybe even stopped watching the show because we want him back. But we say it, we don't talk ratings, but the dude brings in ratings, he brings in business. Now, they have plenty of time, though, and to counter that, to build, because I think Double or Nothing's the end of May. So they're going to have a solid 3 months to build someone for MJF if he's still champion by then, which I think he will be. But I think you have to go like the Brawl Out boys. I think to me, it's the obvious answer. I know the easy thing is to bring Punk back at a Chicago show. Now, maybe if they're going to Chicago on the way to All In, and that's where you throw him in, because I get it, you want to take advantage of those situations, those massive pops. But I don't know, bro. And kind of answer that question. I think you need him back and everything like that. What do you think, though? What's your main event?
Yeah, it's tough because so immediately I'm thinking the main event that I feel like should headline the show would be CM Punk MJF, right? For the championship.
Yeah.
Because
which I'm all about.
That you can easily rekindle with no, and that's, mind you, bringing back Punk and getting all that settled. But I say that, and it's like it's another question on top of another question. Is like, is it even fair to that we're both immediately like CM Punk? Like, it has to be, because my thing is, like, I would say CM Punk and MJF, or what you said, the Elite versus CMFTR. Like, that would be the ideal for me as far as headlining the show. But then again, it's like, is it fair to the rest of the roster that it's like immediately I'm like, oh, it has to be CM Punk? Because, you know what I mean? Like, the show, and it's funny. I told you the other day, I'm over here watching All Out, All In on Honor Club. Like, I watched that pay-per-view the other day because I had never seen it. So I was like,
good show, by the way.
Yeah, hell yeah, it was fucking awesome. I'm like, oh shit, they have that on Honor Club. I'm sitting here bored. Let me watch this. And I just watched it. So I think the main event was the Golden Elite versus Rey Mysterio, Bandito. And who was the other guy that was there? It was Rey Mysterio, Bandito. Oh, and Rey Fenix. And that was the main event, which is like, they had Kenny Omega on that card. And that was like wrestling for the IWGP Championship against Penta, but that wasn't the main event. You know what I mean? So
isn't that the show too where Cody won the NWA title?
Yeah, he beat Nick Aldis for the NWA title. Yep. Like, it was crazy. That show was fucking insane, bro. And just to think that we're gonna be getting another show like in that vein is very exciting. But yeah, I guess we can kind of answer that question, that second answer, later, since we're going to be talking about CM Punk in a little bit here. But it's just funny that immediately I'm thinking that he has to be inserted into these main events, because
it's because the point I want to say does go with our other topic, but I have to say it now for it to make sense. Is so one thing people might not like my opinion on, which is fine, is when you do these overseas shows, you need a big attraction. There's no bigger attraction. Now, this is where this does, I don't want to say hurts, because it doesn't hurt, but they don't have a homegrown massive superstar yet. Keyword yet. Like, at the end of the day, the company hasn't even been around 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So you can build, like, even Kenny and MJF. You could build towards Kenny and MJF, who's like a big superstar, right? And I'm using superstar on purpose. I get it. It's pro wrestling.
Right.
You need superstars, right? But, like, is it going to intrigue the fans if, say, the MJF was, the main event was, like, MJF and someone a storyline that just built up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I bet you it'd still be a great show. Won't doubt that whatsoever. But when you're going overseas, man, you need those attractions. Like, you do. You need... Like, is there anyone home from over there that they can maybe build towards MJF to kind of have like a homegrown, like hometown hero match? I don't know if anyone's from that area.
For immediately I'm thinking of like the Davey Boy Smiths and stuff like that, but I can't think of anybody. Maybe Osprey, or which I think he's going to end up being on that show. Like, I think he's going to be healed up enough to be on that show. It's just, CM Punk has a lot of he brings a lot of eyes. That name has brand recognition. Like,
and he's popular over there
from
his pastime.
Yeah, you want that bringing more eyes to your product. Because say whatever you want, and we'll stop talking about CM Punk here if you want, so we can continue this later. But no one is bigger. Nobody on that roster is bigger than CM Punk. Nobody.
Yeah.
And I love AEW. Moxley, Jericho, Starks, Hobbs,
Yeah.
Sting, Darby. They have a bunch of stars on their roster. Danielson, Adam Cole. But as far as blockbuster, big fucking names, and bro, none of them are as big as. I'm sorry. There's some people out there who hate to hear that shit. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but it's true. It's fucking true. None of them are bigger than CM Punk. So that's just the facts.
But someone who is going to be, has the potential in my eyes to become, because he's already an amazing professional wrestler and has the talent, in my opinion, to get to that next level. Last week on AEW Dynamite, it became official. Jay White is All Elite. Hell of a debut. Damn near started the show.
Yeah.
The only, to answer your question, I thought it was a great debut. I'm happy he's there. We've been on this show saying we wouldn't have cared if he would have went to the Fed,
Right.
but with everything going on there, smart move. I guess he's been signed now for like a week or two before that over there. Just smart move in general. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think he's going to fit in perfectly there.
Yeah, they had apparently they had initial talks, and then something happened that they tried to word it real nice, but like basically they didn't follow up enough with him and his people, and he felt like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go somewhere else, and that's what happened.
Yep. And so I think AEW is an amazing platform for him to go to. The only thing I think I would have done different, you might know this more, just because, like, as you know, like, I don't watch weekly wrestling live. I have to watch it, like, after.
Yeah.
So did they hype up the match that he kind of came in at, or?
So what happened is, Juice and Ricky, they had a match scheduled for this week.
Okay.
They built
but did they build up to it?
Yeah, because last week him and Ricky got into a fist fight or whatever. And Ricky put a challenge out. Juice came out and challenged him and shit. And then they got into a brawl or whatever. And then they announced that they were having a match. So, they built it up. It wasn't just like random. But my thing is like, so I was excited to see him, obviously, Jay White,
obviously,
but like, just I don't understand where these like I'm not a booker. We're not bookers. We're not professional bookers. We're pretend bookers.
Fantasy.
But like, bro, as soon as I saw that, I immediately had a better idea, and it wouldn't have taken much. Just a slight tweak of what they just did would have been so much better. So what happened, for anyone who missed it, Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks were going to have a match. They both did their entrances. They both came out. And then they started the match. And then they hit the Bullet Club music. Jay White comes running out. The cameraman fucks up and doesn't catch the initial part of him running.
Yes.
And then he runs out and they beat the shit out of Ricky. And then they pose and then they leave. Fine. That's how they decided to debut Jay White. My thing is this. Why not have Ricky come out and do his entrance, have Juice come out and do his entrance, or vice versa, whatever. It doesn't matter who comes out first. And then my thing is, why didn't you have like the referee about to call for the bell to start the match, and then have Juice in the corner just kind of like staring at Ricky and laughing, and then Ricky staring at him like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Juice just goes like this.
And then the music hits.
And the fucking lights turn out. You cut the lights off. You cut the lights back on. Jay White standing in the ring. You would have gotten a much bigger pop for that. Like, to have him standing there like that with his fucking jacket on and shit. And then they beat the shit out of Ricky. Then you hit the Bullet Club music and then they leave. Like, maybe he wanted the music to hit for people to hear that first and then get them like, oh shit, Bullet Club, and then do that. But I just, the debut for me, although I was happy to see him, I was just kind of like, what the fuck? And even the cameraman fucked up. Like they caught him late as he was running, and it was
Yeah, like it was a good debut, but not a good debut,
it
kind of
was
at the same
weird.
time.
They weirded it up.
My thing with debuts is, I think it needs to just take the attention instantly. You you make your pop, like your entrance hits, and you go with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the run in as a debut, personally, because I feel no one reacts as good as they should react. Because some people in the crowd might have popped early when they instantly saw it was him. There were probably people there who had no idea who Jay White was. Then there's other people that reacted who knew who he was but reacted late. So I'm a fan of just the big pop at once.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think if they would have done that shit, cut the light off, bring the lights on, and he's standing in the ring, everyone can see him. Everyone who knows who he is going to start freaking out. Then the people who'll start freaking out because the other people are freaking out, and then you get your pop. Then you can have your action, you have your brawl or whatever, and finish it. It's just the way he did it was just fucking. It's a little strange, just a little weird.
Yeah,
though.
I thought it was a perfect time in general to debut him because in that whole week of wrestling in general is a very watched one, in my opinion, and especially after the clusterfuck of what Monday was.
Yeah, man, it was the Dynamite after Mania. What a wonderful Dynamite after Mania we had.
Yeah, SmackDown made up for it, my opinion at least. But
Speaking of SmackDown, Triple H made his appearance because obviously, if you guys know, Triple H made his appearance on Raw to do his then now together forever speech bullshit that he did. And then they put out one of the worst Monday Night Raws of all time. So then it was announced earlier in the week that Triple H is going to be appearing on SmackDown, which he did. And he showed up to announce that the WWE is going to be having their annual draft. I use quotes because the draft happens whenever they feel like having it. It's not even annual anymore. But he said they're going to have the draft in the next few weeks. The actual date has not been announced yet. But my thing is like this. Does the draft even matter anymore? Because if you look at the past few weeks of TV, like everybody's going everywhere. Rhea Ripley's on Raw, on Monday Night Raw superstar, and now she's the SmackDown champion. Riddle is a Raw superstar who showed up on SmackDown. The Usos are SmackDown superstars who are wrestling on Monday Night Raw. It's like everybody's going everywhere, bro. It doesn't matter who's on what roster anymore. That shit didn't happen before, bro. Like before, Raw and SmackDown were two separate things.
Yeah. And that's what I want to see, though. You know what I mean? Like, personally, that's what you want to see. Because then it's like, I don't know if you watched any of the Ruthless Aggression, like, documentaries they did. When they did one on Raw and SmackDown. And it became internal competition.
Yeah.
And things like that. So, I just think it makes sense. Obviously, this is a perfect time to do one. But, yeah, you need to, if you're going to do one, like, stick to it. Now, are there going to be circumstances where you probably have cross-gender shit, like whatever? But yeah, lately, the past few years, it hasn't meant anything. It does. I'd say they have brand integrity for like 5 months of the year in the beginning, and then it's like, all right, now we're gonna move people around.
Bro, like I think even the last time they did a draft, I think literally the next week, like who was it? It was either Finn Balor or Seth Rollins was like on Raw, or it was one of the two. Like,
well, yeah, they did the draft, and then Roman's next contender on Friday Night SmackDown when he had just the Universal Champion was a Raw Seth Rollins.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck, man? Why do you even do this? Like, what's the point of the draft? Like, I don't understand, bro.
Yeah, it's like, cool, Seth and Roman, that's awesome, but
I honestly feel like the draft is like, it's almost something for them internally to do, to just be like, okay, well, these people are together, let's keep them together. We want to separate this tag team. Let's separate them in the draft. Which rumor is the Street Profits are being separated at the draft. Which
I'm not mad. I'll say I'll be
It's
that bad.
bittersweet, bro. It's bittersweet for me because, I mean, what else can they possibly do as a tag team anymore? Like, what are they going to win the tag team titles again? When are they going to do that? Because they're not going to take them off Sammy and KO for a little bit. Like, I don't think they're going to have that long of a run with the tag team titles, but
No, I
they're
could
not
see
going
them
to
losing it by SummerSlam.
Yeah, but they're not going to the Street Profits afterwards. Like, that's not going to happen. It's probably going to go back on the Usos, to be honest with you. But like, what else can they do as a tag team, man? Like, what else is there for them as far as being in that group? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there are certain like groups you can break up and you can't, right? And maybe they go kind of the New Day route with it, where they're still homies and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be to the point where they keep the same music, because as you know, even Big E ended up
Oh
getting like
no,
his own entrance music.
One of them will keep
But
the music, and the other one will get new
as
music.
we know on this show, I'd say in general we praise the Street Profits, like we give them their due. Angelo Dawkins, I'd say in the past just year has improved tremendously.
Oh yeah.
I think if done right, he could be a good individual character. I think he's gonna have to sit down and think of that. But we all know Montez is a star, and I'm assuming if they split, Angelo's the one going to SmackDown because Bianca's the Raw Women's Champion, and I
didn't think about that.
We'll talk about Raw later, but she's facing EO next, so I'm assuming that's gonna happen at Backlash. So I don't see them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be mad if EO is the one that beats her. To be honest, I really wouldn't be mad. I love EO,
it's fine. I think Bianca's had it 365 days or longer than that. Obviously, she's had it a full year. And eventually she's gonna have to lose. Like eventually,
so
you know what I mean?
If I had to pick, I'd rather Bianca and Montez go to SmackDown than Raw. But to me, I don't care. But yeah, you'll see that there. I don't know. There's some I think the Judgment Day as a whole, I think they're gonna keep them together. But I think they're gonna go to SmackDown because of Rhea.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. Do you think the inevitable question? Do we see a second title? Go to Raw, because I'm assuming if they split titles, Roman's going to be exclusive to SmackDown. If I had to guess, because that's their one show.
What do you mean, like the actual titles get split?
Yeah, do you see the titles get split? Like Raw will have a chance, because like I said, Roman will stay on SmackDown.
That would be some weird. That would be some weird shit for them to do, like with the draft. Like, oh, we're also splitting the titles up. Like, that's shitty. Like, they really shouldn't do that. Like, they should have Roman lose, and then they can either make one title or just split the titles back up and do it that way. Because how you just gonna tell Roman?
I see a split happening before a combined title, personally.
Yeah, I think so.
Just because of all the reports and stuff we read, you know what I mean?
My ideal situation for this would be you got SmackDown and you got Raw, and those not even very rarely, but like it has to be some really fucking big storyline shit for somebody to cross over to the other show. And my ideal thing is to have like the two rosters. Only executive decisions can be made of like, okay, we're gonna send Raw to SmackDown this week because he's having like a blood feud with whoever, and we're gonna have him go sneak attack, and it's gonna be like, what the hell is Seth Rollins doing here? Oh, it's craziness, it's madness. Oh my god, he shouldn't be here. Like, that's the only reason. That's the only time that shit should happen. And there should be, and for me, this is just my opinion, one champion of the company, and that champion goes wherever the fuck he wants. I go to Raw, I go to SmackDown whenever I feel like it. I go to Raw whenever I feel like it. I defend it here, I defend it there. I'm the champion.
Because the thing is, they can make that work. Because if you remember the first ever draft in 2002, Brock was the champion, or just won the champion. But they went or Triple H was it too. Like they went 6 months before they brought out the big gold belt, and it can work. My thing is, you just need a full-time competitor. Because then, even if you go back to, was it in 2014 when Randy Orton won both titles and then Daniel Bryan won it. They went from 14 all the way till the Universal debuted at SummerSlam in 16. So they went 2+ years with just one. And a lot of that reign was Seth. But even Brock was it at times. But I guess that was also when SmackDown was definitely more of a B show. Like, you know what I mean? That's when SmackDown wasn't really that good. But my thing is, you can make it work. You just need the competitor to do it. Like, this isn't me bashing Roman, as I've said before. Like I said, going into the Mania episode. But, like, if you had a Cody or a Seth or even a Drew.
Immediately, I think of Drew McIntyre. Like, immediately.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can go. And the thing is, you don't have to be on both shows every week. Like, you can be on Raw this Monday and start a feud, say, with Seth. And since you are facing that one guy, he kind of has the rights to go back and forth because you're going back. So you can be on Raw one week and SmackDown the next week. It's not because you have to be on Raw. You have to be on SmackDown every week. You know, that's just my take. But I agree. Like, if you're going to do the one champ, it has to be someone who's on TV, like, or at least on both shows. Like, Roman, I would say, at least every other week he's on TV for the most part. For the most part, every other week,
I think so.
Maybe they go 2, but he's never on Raw.
Yeah, it's so funny that he's like
since he
does
in the count because it's been a year since he won both titles, Mania to Mania. I probably won't realistically do it, but I'd love to count how many times he's been on Raw since, and I'd say it's less than 10.
It's funny with him too, because it's like, you know, he wants this part-time schedule, so I think he would hate my idea. He'd be like, I'm not showing up to I'm not doing both shows every week. Fuck you. But somebody like a Drew McIntyre, who's like, you could tell like that dude is like, yep. And the thing is too, with that idea, like, wouldn't you think that gives the champion and the title more prestige? Like, this is the champion. This is the workhorse. He's fucking coming out, defending. He's on every show. He's representing the brand. You know, it's like, I feel like it just puts more prestige on it because this Roman thing, it's fine. I'm not shitting on Roman or, you know, the storyline that they got going on or whatever, because he's put the work in, bro. 960 something days on counting. So he's definitely got the prestige behind him. But I just feel like I would like one title and just one champion across both brands, bro. That's just.
And maybe that's because I personally think whenever he does lose, which is crazy because it could be as soon as SummerSlam or it could be next year at Mania, and I wouldn't be shocked either way. Because there was a tweet that said like what he needs, like if he wants to be everyone's reign that's ahead of him, like where it needs to be, and one of them goes to like Backlash of 2020.
Oh yeah,
he's not going to go that far, but I think if I read correctly, this is what pisses me off though. I think his no shit 1,000th day as champion is at Backlash, and I don't think he's advertised to fight at Backlash. Which to me, if that's the case, that's weak. Because there's your storyline right there. It doesn't have to be Cody. It could be anyone, you know. Because like, remember they did that good with the Usos and the Street Profits. The Usos and the New Day. Remember the day on SmackDown, the way the calendar just lined up. It was they did an impromptu Usos New Day tag title match, and it was on the day of them tying the New Day for the record with the title. So there was no build needed. It's as simple as that. Like, yo, you're gonna break a record. You're gonna go. I don't know. So I could be wrong. I have to look into that. I'm actually gonna look into. But so maybe because I think once he drops the belt, he's going strictly part-time. I don't think part-time like Brock part-time. But I think we'll see a lot less of him than we already do now.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool with, to be honest. I'm cool with, just because Roman's been on our screens nonstop since like 2013.
Yeah, it's funny to say like, oh, he needs a break when he's literally working like a part-time schedule. Like, keep it buck. Sometimes I don't even think that he's there when they do some of those like backstage, like those episodes where he just shows up backstage like in a video thing. That shit is probably taped like who knows where. They could have taped that shit in fucking Oregon when they're in California or something, and they're just playing it like today. You know what I mean? So, the fact
Yeah.
that I'd say like he needs a break is ridiculous, but you know, it is what it is. Like he said in that interview, he was talking about. Did you see that interview where he was like, "They would love to have my schedule. Seth would love to have my schedule, but they can't.
Yeah,
They can't
that's
get it.
that Ariel Helwani.
They can't get it. They just can't get it."
I'm telling you that Ariel Helwani does
Yeah.
some good interview. Yeah, I wish I had that.
Yeah, no shit.
But back to the draft, I think if done right, as I guess what we're getting at, both of us is if done right, if there's that roster integrity, it can be fine. Because back in the day, it's like on Raw, you had Evolution, and then you had like RVD, Jeff Hardy was there, and then on SmackDown, it's like you had Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. Like back in the day, and they say it too. Like on Mondays, you saw your storylines and good wrestling, but on Fridays or Thursdays, whatever SmackDown, like that was your wrestling show.
Yeah,
that's where I remember Edge was like, he's like, yeah, because that's when Heyman was running SmackDown, and Edge was like, yeah, you and Guerrero, you guys got 3 segments, cool, a third of the show's ran.
Yeah. I miss those days of.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess
I miss those days of the SmackDown being like a different show, because that also made it more like must watch. Like you want to see your specific guys wrestling on your specific show. It was like literally like a completely different show. They had different announce team. They have their different, wrestlers on there and their matches and their storylines. So I don't see why they don't go back to that. But again, I sit here and I like wonder these things, but they're making more fucking money than they've ever made ever. So apparently they're doing something right.
Yeah, and then but speaking of the draft, on Friday as well, we saw a vignette return for Shinsuke Nakamura to return, and there are reports, and I say reports. I'm going to use all this loosely, because Triple H has intentions of getting Nakamura back to where he was at WrestleMania 34 with AJ as like a big star, which we know Triple H is high on him. He has been the whole time, but there's a certain mustache man that can always get in the way of everything. There he is. He's returned. Just in general, like, I think we could both agree, we think Shinsuke has the talent, everything, charisma to be that main event guy. I don't think but are you just excited to see Shinsuke back?
I'm just happy to see him come back and not be acting a fool with Rick Boogs. I want to see Shinsuke involved in like the IC title. I want to see him involved in like storyline.
Fuck that. If Roman's gonna have this reign, if Roman's gonna have this long reign, even if it's till SummerSlam and we know Nakamura is gonna lose, I want to see Shinsuke go against Roman.
I mean, didn't they give us that match sometime last year?
No.
Or did they bitch out on that storyline?
It went for like a week or two, and then it got dropped, and then like Riddle came out of nowhere and challenged him on that random SmackDown. Yeah, something was there, and then it just died. It's when Vince was still,
Mustache Man strikes again.
Yeah, because you got to think, and this is where it's going with Shinsuke though. If Roman's gonna lose it, it's gonna be at like a SummerSlam or a Mania. I don't think, like, he's gonna lose in America. I guess is what I'm saying, because I think they got Backlash, which obviously Puerto Rico's America, but you have Backlash, Money in the Bank's in London, and then I think there's the Saudi show in between there, and then SummerSlam. So you have three shows. Like, you can easily get Nakamura a title match on one of them.
And he's, Nakamura's one of those.
But London, I think they're going to go to UK competitor, which I'm cool with, because I'd be down to see Sheamus. I'd be down to see Gunther.
And Nakamura is one of those guys that you really don't have to try too hard to, get him involved in shit. He's fucking Shinsuke Nakamura, bro. He can go out there with anybody and throw hands and throw legs and feet and whatever. And you buy him as a threadable, threadable. What am I trying to say? A credible threat. I said a threadable cret. Okay, that's what I said. A credible threat to anybody. So,
did you going back with Shinsuke, when him and AJ had that match at Mania, did you think Shinsuke was
I was
winning
very
that night
excited for that,
going
and
into it?
I didn't think Shinsuke was gonna win.
And then you got hit in
Yeah,
the nuts.
that's when he punched
Get
AJ in
it?
the
Because
nuts
that's
like
what
those
happened.
3 different matches. Shinsuke.
And then his heel turn was
No, bro.
horrendous.
No.
Horrendous.
One of my all-time favorite moments ever in wrestling, period, is when Renee was interviewing him outside of his locker room, and she tells him, Shinsuke, she's trying to get answers. She's like, fucking, why did you do this to AJ Styles? And he's like, I think I just got too emotional. I'm very sorry for what I did to AJ Styles. And he winks. He fucking winks. Like, then she's like, okay, Shinsuke, obviously you're being facetious here. Come on, I want an answer. Why did you do this to AJ? What was your thinking? Why did you do this? And he literally goes, sorry, no speak English.
Yes.
And walked away. Dude, I can't remember the last time I laughed because usually you see things coming in wrestling. We've been watching wrestling forever. We've seen it all, bro. And you've seen racial things happen in wrestling, but it's not exactly like left up to the wrestlers to do these things. It's like given to them. But bro, when he did that, I bellowed with laughter when he did that shit. I thought that shit was the funniest thing ever. I watch that clip all the time, dude.
Did you like his heel entrance music, like that other theme he had?
I don't remember anything aside from his regular theme.
So remember, it had more like a rap or.
Oh shit! I don't even really remember that.
Yeah, if you look up like Shinsuke theme 2019, but it's the one like when his entrance video, like when he would come out, it'd be like the guy picking up the guitar, and I don't remember what the words were. It's not a bad theme, but you weren't able to do, which probably made sense because he was a heel. You weren't able to do the
and I like when they do that. I like when they change the themes that way because everybody wants to come out. Even if you're a heel, if you're coming out to that song, they're gonna sing your song. That's what happened to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was a heel, and that stupid fucking song, they changed his song, and now everybody wants to sing his song, whether he's a heel, he's a face, he's a whatever. It's like, so you got to change it in order to cut that shit off.
Except that I do miss when Pat McAfee would go ape shit when Shinsuke would come out.
Yeah.
He would get on the table and start dancing. I got a video when we were at SummerSlam. That you could tell they were doing like a commercial break, and Shinsuke just won the IC title. I think like the night before, because that's when Corbin was doing that. Broke ass Corbin, whatever bullshit. And they came out, introduced your new Intercontinental Champion. He was King Nakamura, because remember he took Baron Corbin's crown, and the place went nuts, obviously. But Pat McAfee like jumped on the ground and started.
Wasn't there an episode where I know I saw this? Wasn't there an episode where he was coming out with? I think this is when he was coming out with Rick Boogs, and he's coming out and he's shredding. Pat McAfee's like he's shredding. And then wasn't there a episode where he's on the table and he basically had McAfee and he basically has his nuts in Michael Cole's face.
Oh yeah, he's sitting right on him.
He's air guitar like right in his face. Like that shit was hilarious.
See, I didn't mind Shinsuke with Boogs for the comedy aspect and even the entrance. Like Boogs helped, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, Shinsuke Nakamura can do way more than be with Rick Boogs.
It's I didn't mind that first.
And it's nothing against Rick Boogs. It's just Shinsuke
of course.
Nakamura as a star.
Yeah, Boogs can go do his own thing. Like I want Shinsuke don't have a lot of time left, bro. We don't need him. He's an older dude. He's like my age, older if anything. I'd like to see him get a proper run at the. Give him a shot and let him do his thing. You know what I mean? He was great as NXT champion. So sometimes these things don't translate to the main roster, but I'd like to see it at least be tried.
I want to see. So he's only but he's a world title shy of being a Grand Slam champion there too.
Wow.
Because he won the tag titles with Cesaro, if you remember, during the Thunderdome eras. They were the tag champs. Obviously, we know he was the IC champ. and when he was a heel, he was the U.S. champ. Because
Hey,
that's
man.
typical WWE fashion when Vince was in charge.
Speaking
the
of Grand
United
Slam
States
champions,
Yeah.
speaking of Grand Slam champions, Liv Morgan is 2 titles away. She's 2 titles away from being Grand Slam champion, son. She's tag team
What is
champion. She got the tag team championships last
Yeah.
night. She was SmackDown Women's Champion. And didn't she have the tag team titles in NXT or no?
No. So I think she needs the Raw Women's.
She would need the Raw Women's Championship.
Dude, I saw something last night. I say we jump into Raw now and then save the punk shit for the end. But so after her match last night, in the calendar and just from Mania to Mania, she's had a hell of a year. She's won the women's tag titles, Money in the Bank, SmackDown Women's Champion. She went the distance as well in the Rumble, right? It was her and Rhea.
She was in there a while.
Yeah, and she pinned Trish Stratus.
Oh, Liv, man. She's grown on me. Let's say that much. She definitely
always been on me.
Well, yeah, that's your woman right there. But she's definitely grown on me. Again, I don't know what it is about her that they constantly make her lose. Obviously, she just won the tag team titles.
Yeah, but for how long?
That kind of negates.
And Shayna come around.
Yeah, that kind of negates what I was just saying. But, and I think they did that. I think they got them the belts purposely so that they could take those belts to SmackDown and lose them to Ronda and Shayna, so they don't have to come to Raw. But that's neither here nor there. But like when they gave her the championship, I don't want to say gave. When she won the championship, they could have done a much better job not making her look like shit. Like, I get that they tried with that weird Ronda Rousey, I tapped out, but I had your shoulders down shit. Like, I was willing to like kind of work with that, but I don't see what's wrong with people losing every now and then, bro. Like, I don't like, that's one thing about WWE that drives me fucking crazy. Like last night they had Lashley and Bronson Reed, and what happens? They fight and they go to count out. Like, I get why, they probably did that because they want to save that match for, a bigger show or something.
I could see this going like 2 or 3 matches.
And I'm not gonna bitch about Raw last night because honestly, half the roster wasn't there, so they had to like do the show on the fly. So I'm not gonna bitch about last night.
Sami Zayn and Riddle showed up.
Yeah, they literally walked in the building and they were like, "Okay, you're gonna go run to the ring." Like, that shit's crazy. So again, I'm not not gonna shit on Raw. Not that Raw was terrible or anything last night, but I'm not gonna shit on it because they could only do what they could do yesterday with the roster they had. So, but it's like I don't like with Liv, you have her winning. She's supposed to be a babyface, and you have her winning, like by not cheating, but that's what she started doing there towards the end. Like, she was like trying to be duplicitous and shit and trying to win like in like devious ways instead of just getting pins with her freaking finisher. And it's like, you can do it, dude. It doesn't matter that she's not the biggest girl in the world. Put her in there with people her size and let her win matches. Like,
just like the one person they did that good with was Alexa Bliss when she was her
5 feet man. That bitch was beating everybody when she was the 5 feet of Fury. She was beating everybody. It didn't matter who she was in there with. If she hit that fucking Twisted Bliss, it was over. Like, the only one that it didn't work with was Nia. When they put her in there with Nia, then it was like, all right, listen, you can't do much against this big bitch. Like, you're not, this 5 feet of Fury is only going to take you so far. So, but yeah, they did it with her. I don't see why they couldn't do it with Liv, bro. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. The only thing I want to talk about from last night was that Cody promo. So funny. I'm getting John Cena circa 2012 vibes. Loses the big match at Mania. Brock attacks them the next night. Cody challenges him to a match at Backlash. Brock and Cena fought at Backlash. Cena ended up winning though, which was crazy to think about. That Brock lost his first match back in WWE, but
Did he?
I think that
When he came back?
Cena beat him.
When he came back at that Raw after Mania or whatever it was? I thought that was. I thought that he.
I think.
Didn't he squash the shit out of Cena in that first match?
No,
wasn't that like that famous
match
where he suplexed him like fucking 16 times?
So that was for the title like 2 years later.
Holy shit! Okay.
I think Cena won, but Brock left him looking like shit in the end, kind of thing. Kind of like with Brock and Bobby. Like Brock won that bullshit match in Saudi, but Bobby laid him out. I think it was something like that.
Right.
But I'll say they definitely got Cody did a great job. It was an incredible promo. Like, he got a lot of praise for it on the internet. And to see Cody and Brock, I'm kind of into seeing. I don't think it'd be a bad match. Now everyone's been saying it's been in the works for a while. Like, all this is the plan. This is the plan. Whatever. I'm gonna ride it out to see what goes on with this Cody Brock thing. As long as he doesn't get like squashed. As long as it's not like a squash, I'll be. It's just
I don't like again.
If they wrestle though, real talk. Like if they wrestle, they have a match and Brock wins. The obvious answer is if Brock wins, do they try furthering the story as Cody trying to get through all this adversity? Like that's the route they're going, or do you think you have to have Cody beat Brock?
The thing is, like, a lot of that's been the main point of contention with a lot of people this past week. Is like, Cody lost because he hasn't faced adversity. Blah 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 blah. Like, bro, his fucking arm is hanging off a fucking piece of a muscle.
Yeah,
like, that's a lot of adversity to go through that and come back and then win the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Like, but I didn't even want to go there. Like. The thing with Brock is like, why didn't you just like, instead of doing what they did, like, why couldn't you just have a match? Like,
have the match and then do that.
Yeah, like, why couldn't you have a match? Like,
and it's super easy. Cody or Brock beat Solo because Cody already beat Solo, and so that's fine. Then Brock can beat anyone he wants. Like, let's be honest, right? You're not really buried, in my opinion, if you take a pin from Brock Lesnar. That's just me. But I agree. The only reason I asked that is because I've been seeing I saw 2 reports, one last night, one this morning, that Triple H is really considering this summer at some point doing Brock and Gunther. And Brock even did an interview over Mania week and someone asked him about the match. And he's like, when I heard about it, like, I was up for that challenge kind of thing. He's like, but at the end of the day, I don't make those decisions. Yeah. Which makes sense, where Vince probably came in as like, nah, dog, you're going with Omos. Which I'm not mad that him and Omos wrestled at the end. But because Cody's going to go get a rematch. We don't know when, but it's going to happen. And I don't see Brock at that point in his career like a Cena where he loses like pretty much every time he comes back. So me personally, after reading that, and I want to know if you agree, I'd rather Cody lose to Brock so Gunther has a better chance of winning. Because I don't see in a summer Brock losing to Cody and Gunther. Just don't see it happening. I guess what I'm getting at is I'd rather see Gunther get the dub than Cody.
Yeah, and if you beat Cody again, then that's the thing. Like, in order to make that make sense, you would have to have, so you have Brock beat Cody. Then eventually you're going to have a rubber match, and you're going to have Cody beat Brock to get revenge for that loss.
With a rubber chicken.
Yeah. The rubber chicken match. You would have to have them book another match that's down the line, and then have Cody beat Brock now to get the win back, to then progress further to get back to Roman. So, because you can't just have Brock beat Cody and then Brock's like, all right, bro, peace the fuck out. I'm going to go wrestle Gunther now. And we're going to go do that whole program. Like, Cody's going to have to get that win back in order to, they got to be real careful with this shit. Like, I know that Cody's over right now and Cody can cut a promo with the best of them. But if he starts taking too many losses, bro, these people are going to turn on that babyface Cody shit. They're gonna do it. He's gonna start hearing boos.
I could see it going. He could end up like babyface Roman Reigns.
They're gonna start booing him, and once that shit starts, it's over. It's fucking over. Like you're gonna have a missed opportunity there, because once these fucking assholes starts chanting what and fucking doing all their dumb shit and booing, it's just olvídate, bro. There's no coming back from that shit. There's only certain people immune from that, and I don't know if Cody's one of those people.
Now my thing is, they have to. If Cody's gonna win this belt, it has to be SummerSlam. That's their big stadium show next in the States, because people are saying they can go till next. Cody is not going to stay white hot without a title till next Mania. He'll probably be over, but he's not going to be white hot like he is right now. Just in my opinion. I don't.
SummerSlam is in August. Goddamn, what's before SummerSlam? So we got Backlash.
So I think Backlash. Then aren't they? They're doing like King of the Ring in Saudi. And then they have Money in the Bank.
Oh, they have King and Queen of the Ring in May. At the end of May. So they got 2 pay-per-views in May.
What's the other one? Oh yeah,
Backlash.
Yeah, everything from Backlash on until SummerSlam, no pleas are happening in the no shit United States.
Wait a minute, bro. So they don't have a pay-per-view for 3 months?
No, in July, right. I don't think.
That don't sound right. Because they don't have. Wait, bro. Oh, July. Okay, they have Money in the Bank in July?
No, they do. They don't in June. In July, they have Money in the Bank in the beginning of the month.
Because it says here, so you have Backlash in May, end of May, and then in June. Okay, well, that's Forbidden Door. That's weird, because when I'm looking at this thing on Google, it says they have Backlash in May, and then King of the Queen in the end of May. And then Money in the Bank July 1st.
Yeah, so they don't have one in June.
Oh, so June is where they don't have a pay-per-view. Okay, well, it kind of technically, it's at the end of May, so I understand. I get it. Like, it's kind of like June, but not really.
If anything, I'm cool with that, because that gives you the whole month of June to build up for the London show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Damn, look at London, man. London balling. They get Money in the Bank, and then in July, and then literally the end of the next month, they get All In.
Good for them, man. Those are hot.
They could win this 2 of the best shows of the year.
Very good crowds, man. Very good crowds. Good for them.
Yeah, and then, so I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that's all I really had to say about Raw. But Lou, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Before we close out today. We already know your answer is yes. AEW needs CM Punk back. We preach that every week. People probably hate us. Who can fill his shoes, if anyone?
Well, that's when I was going on my soliloquy earlier about it, and I don't think anybody can. I really don't. Not at that level of where he's at. Like, obviously, Moxley took charge and he fucking put the company on his back. And he ran with his title when everything was going fucking haywire, and he was still showing up every week, doing everything he had to do, bleeding on people.
Supposed to be on vacation.
Busting people to fuck up, supposed to be going on vacation. No, he's every week he's there, he's wrestling, he's doing what he's got to do. He's cutting ill promos, like he was doing everything. Plus, not even that, he was going to Revolver, he was going to IPW, he was doing Bloodsport. Like, that dude, he's a different dude. And when I say no one can, like, replace CM Punk, I don't mean that to denigrate anyone else on the roster at all. Like, I don't even mean to put anyone down by saying that. It's the facts. Like, CM Punk is a household name, pretty much. Like, he's done movies, books, comics, UFC commentary. He fought in the UFC. His name is just bigger than anyone else. And you can tell by looking at, we don't talk ratings on here, but you look at the ratings when he was on the show and when he was not, and you can see that things are a little different. So
Yeah, because I said it to you over text because I don't care about ratings. I watch a show to watch
yeah,
a show. But when Punk was on, they were at 1 million, or if not, just under. Last week, as we said, was a very big. It was the Dynamite after Mania.
yeah,
They'd even break 900,000.
yeah. Right now, it's been
You know what I
holding
mean?
like
So like that's what,
they've been doing like 860, 880 for the past like month. I think they hit a
and the thing is
million.
too, like
They hit 1 million like
they did
a
recently
month
though,
and
like a
a
month
half
ago.
ago or something like that. They hit 1 million randomly because I don't even think they really had anything like too they were promoting anything big, I think, but they had a great show, which they always have.
Yeah, I
They
think it
always
was
have
right
great
before.
shows.
Yeah, I think it was right before Revolution.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, cool, they're back at 1 million. Let's see how what happens. And then
Yeah.
the next week was like 980, and everybody was freaking the fuck out. Which, dude, Warner Brothers Discovery is in love with them. They love these numbers that they're
Yeah.
getting. So these people who argue ratings, like, I don't understand you. Like, I
Dude,
really don't.
to me, that's why I don't get invested in ratings because 800,000. That's still 800,000 people that are watching this. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that doesn't count for the people who watch. Like right now, I watch next day and everything.
Yeah.
People DVR and things like that. But dude, the kind of with the Punk thing, right? Everyone knows he had a very unsuccessful run in UFC, like fighting. Right? Hey, I give that dude all the credit in the world for trying. But dude, like he was like the co-main event on each of the shows he was on, and all he did prior to that was WWE.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he's a star.
There's never been anyone like CM Punk, and I've said this before. He left for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
These fucking people chanted CM Punk for 7 years, bro. 7 years they chanted for this guy. They've not done that for anybody. Maybe
the closest thing's the what
chant, but that's just more being fucking annoying. That's like,
yeah,
I don't even think.
I personally don't
Bro,
like the what chant.
I'll keep it a buck. I don't even think some of the people who do those chants when they're at these shows even know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is, because you'll see little kids going, "What?" And like they don't fucking know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. They weren't watching
They
Raw
don't know
back
that
then.
Stone Cold was out there.
Bro, they were
doing
sperm
that.
back then when that shit was going on. Like they have no
Yeah.
clue. So that's not even
Yep.
like considered Stone Cold, but these people literally been chanting CM Punk for almost a decade trying to get him to come back. So that's never happened. So you can't tell me that dude's not relevant, bro. You can't.
Yeah, they got to bring him back. The All In show, I think, is the perfect time because, say, All Out in Chicago, which later, as we said, I don't know. We'll dive into that more. In the future
I don't know how that we're gonna try to cover that more because I'm very confused at how that's gonna work.
Because All Out
Very
is like
confused.
their mania. Like, you know what I mean?
How do you, again, you could say that, WWE is doing a 2-night WrestleMania, whatever. So why wouldn't these people be able to book,
Yeah.
But you're telling me I got to pay $69.99 this weekend, and then next weekend I got to pay another $69.99 for a pay-per-view? I'm like, hey, bro.
It's 100.
I can't do that, bro. I
This is too
cannot do
much.
that. I don't give a fuck who you got on the card. You bring back the zombie Ultimate Warrior, bro. I'm not paying for that shit. That's crazy.
It's I don't know. We'll get into it more, as
Right.
but yeah, I'm not too sure, bro. I don't know what they got, but regardless of the fact, like, bring them back. You know what I mean? It's just, I guess, like we said, I guess there were those talks, then there was the Instagram post. So, like, I hate
FTR, Dax Harwood will not shut the fuck up about CM Punk. So,
no, he praises
something's
him.
going on there. There's something going on.
I just think the way online's perceiving it, the way, like, Dax Harwood's perceiving it, is that, like, it just seems like if Punk comes back, that is what's going to happen. That's why I said, like, that's the match,
Yeah, and I feel like too, like, I feel like the only person who really has a problem with CM Punk right now is maybe Jericho. because Adam Cole loves CM Punk. Like, he loves CM Punk.
Well, I think it's because all these younger dudes looked up to him too.
Yeah. The Bucks have like said a lot of glow before all this happened, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of video of them loving CM Punk. Kenny has a working, respectful relationship with Punk. Moxley, even. You had Punk talking about Moxley in like a glowing manner before all this bullshit happened. You can see all these. There's plenty of video out there. So it's like I'm trying to see like what's the like.
Well, I know why Jericho does it. You never heard what Jericho did on his podcast or on the live cruise he did? He did like a Q&A, and I think that I'm assuming this is when Punk was champion, like in WWE during that time. And they were talking about back then and like the locker room leaders, like who they were and stuff. And I guess they were having like a talent meeting, and CM Punk got up and was like, "Hey, as your locker room leader," and Booker T made that comment like, "Who?" Yeah. And I guess him and like the old heads, like him and Jericho, took that some type of way.
Yeah, but that's a million. You know what I mean? That's like a million years ago. Like, dude, that you can't
but you're telling me Jericho. You see Jericho, dog. He petty. Like I saw a tweet the other day. So I saw a tweet. Jericho went after dude. So I guess on Dynamite this week it's Keith Lee and Jericho.
Oof.
Which I think could be a good match.
Oh, it's gonna be a great Dynamite.
But I'll admit, dog, I said it in the chat. I do not like what Keith Lee's doing right now. At the tiniest bit, I don't
this fucking weird gray white-haired preacher thing. I'm not a fan.
I feel bad because I'm assuming he's invested in it.
Right? I'm assuming he came up with that because Tony's. Tony ain't the one coming up with these ideas. That's him. He's the one who came up with this shit.
I don't know, man. It's just I think Keith was just so hot in 2019 during like his NXT run. Because to me, I think he's been a miss in AEW.
Yeah.
For the most part, dude. And I hate saying that because I like Keith Lee.
Well, the thing with Keith is like he's a victim of the Tony doesn't know what to do with him. Tony doesn't know what to do with this guy. That guy should have a belt. That's a dude who should be a champion of something.
And like if I was Tony beating that guy, I hate being that guy. So if I offend anyone, but like if I was Tony Khan, like, hey Keith, like you gotta dye that hair, big dog. Like having that white ain't helping you. Like, hey, I'm about embracing older age. Don't get me wrong, but do you want like a dude, an AEW world champion with all that gray? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be an asshole.
It's just weird. It's just weird that he's. I don't know what the white.
But anyway,
with
what
the robe and the Bible. He's carrying like a Bible and shit. Like
but I saw two tweets. So Jericho, some dude made like an ignorant comment about like two like fat guys fighting. And then Jericho quoted the tweet. Like, you know, Jericho, he'll interact, tell people to fuck off. So, you know, if he gets some type of way and he's like, wow, we're fat shaming in like 2023, which I think is also dumb. Like in general, like, yo, Keith Lee's probably a better athlete than that guy fucking tweeting it. Like, you know what I mean? And then, so that kind of made me feel some type of way. Just ignorance. Like, why even tweet that with your 10 followers? But then the tweet right under it, dog. Anytime I see Keith Lee on Twitter, that poor motherfucker, the first tweet, one of the first 5 tweets in the comments is, if what I'm hearing is true, poor Gunther. Because it was like, Keith Lee, do you remember when he did that tweet? So when Walter became Gunther and everyone had an uproar because of the name change, which I was one of them because I liked Walter.
Yeah, of course.
Keith Lee put out a tweet and was like, hey, if what I'm hearing is true, ... poor Gunther. And now everyone's kind of roasting Keith Lee with that tweet because it's like, look where he is, kind of. You know what I mean?
Shit.
But yeah, Keith Lee, that's my homeboy. Like I said, he just reminds me, and tell me if you agree with this. When he was white hot in like 2019 in NXT, and I still think he can be this, but I got that vibe that he could be like that modern day superhero guy that like all the kids look up to and shit like that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think he could have been that guy for anyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he should be holding a title, and I know he just had to run with the tag team titles, and that was fine. But bro, Keith Lee, that's why I say he's a victim of this thing where Tony doesn't know what to do because you got Kenny, you got your guys who you want to be your champions, and then you have Keith Lee who looks like he can beat everybody on your roster with no problem. Like you know what I mean, with no problem. But you have him like, he's here. Put the Bible in. You know what I mean?
Is this his first like singles stint?
On
Because I know when
AEW,
he debuted, and then I remember he was in the at Revolution in 2022. He was in the ladder match for the brass ring or whatever. So I remember he was in that. But then I remember when I went to Double or Nothing, he was in that whatever multi-man tag match. It was like him and Swerve for the first time. They didn't win the Jungle Express one, but because it was them, Jungle Express, and then Hobbs and Starks. So is this just not because he hasn't been with the company that long? I think he's just hit a year because his first pay-per-view with them was Revolution last year. So he's only been with them like a year.
Yeah.
So I think this is like his first no shit singles thing.
Well, breaking news. Breaking news. Brian Cage has officially re-signed with AEW.
Okay.
Way to go, big dog. Way to go, big dog. I like Brian Cage.
Yeah, same.
He has signed a new long-term multi-year deal with AEW.
What he did to Darby, that was fucking insane.
They call that the F10 because he spins a motherfucker. But yo, Darby is listen, man. Do you see that shit? Darby got hit by a car in New York.
Yeah.
He got hit by a car and showed up to wrestle on Dynamite. Not only did he have that match that he had, afterwards, Brian Cage threw him on his face. Like, listen, man, I'm going to appreciate that kid now while he's here and breathing among us because, man, he's
healthy.
That kid is not going to be wrestling long, bro.
Dude, he spun him like a pizza.
Yeah. That's what he literally calls that the F10 because the F5 is just the F5 you spin him and bring him down, but this shit he's just like literally like what you said, he threw him like he tossed him like a goddamn dominoes.
Yeah,
it's crazy, bro. I don't know how that kid, dude. I don't know how this kid. I don't know how he does some of the shit that he does, man. It's insanity.
I don't know. Awesome. I get worried, man. I'm that guy like who doesn't like seeing shit like that, to be real.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a stunt man and he knows what he's doing, but bro, fucking shout out to Darby Allin, bro. That dude is a man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, to kind of just wrap everything up here. CM Punk, bring him back.
Yeah.
Bring back CM Punk, yo. I've been watching, I've been going back and watching on YouTube the CM Punk promos that he had with Hangman. Obviously, we talked about that documentary that some dude made about him and MJF. The promos with Eddie where he called Eddie a bum. You know, the war words he had there with Moxley, where they went back and forth. It's like, man, that dude is fun. I remember, and I saw this video too where he after Dynamite went off the air, he did that thing with Hook, where Hook comes out and puts him in the arm bar and suplexes him, and he's like, yeah, like that's dude, man. You could tell that dude loves wrestling, man.
Yeah,
like I'm thinking he's coming back. I really do. So especially with this Wembley thing happening. I don't think
How do you not want to be a part of that? You know?
Yeah, I think Tony like definitely consulted with Punk before he finalized that. And I'm just talking out of my ass. But I would think like, yo, would you be interested in doing that? So we can kind of work on getting you back because CM Punk at Wembley Stadium. Shit.
Yep.
That you have a possibility of a sellout. Like if he's involved, I would say that the chances of that selling out are like astronomically higher. So we're gonna have to wait and see, man. We're gonna have to wait and see. But
yeah,
Nick,
I think that does it.
We have come to the end of episode 140 of Wrestling is Trash on Trash Tuesday. I am your one of your loyal co-hosts, Lou from the BX. You can find all my content on the Everything Podcast Instagram page. From there, you click on the Drum IO bio and you click on my link, and everything is there nice and clean for you. All the things. But most importantly, the Wrestling is Trash page. I got some things cooking. I currently have, so I showed you guys in the chat the prototype World Championship belt. What I didn't tell you guys is that I sent it off to order. So it is currently being created by our good friends at Trophy Shack. So
Fuck yeah.
any day now, they're going to send me the final photo and they're going to ship me the Everything Podcast World Championship. And I will be taking that championship with me everywhere. Every live wrestling event that I go to, I will be taking that belt with me. So,
Yep.
If you guys want to see that unboxing video, which I'm definitely going to do, you already know, follow Everything is Trash on YouTube, do all the following, and make sure you stay on top of all of our content.
Mm-hmm.
Nick?
Yep. So you can follow my name, Twitter, Instagram, but most importantly, follow the show on Twitter at wrestlingbtrash, on Instagram at wrestlingistrash, but most importantly, the YouTube page, as Lou said. Wrestling is Trash on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, comment, the whole nine. Do it all. Give us some love. We thank you all for all the views again, for just everything, the followers, everything. Thank you for listening for the past 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 8 seconds. And we bid you a farewell. Enjoy the rest of your week and all the wrestles.
Enjoy wrestling, guys.